For Jake Gyllenhaal, the combination of playing a 911 call operator in The Guilty and filming it during a pandemic, where he had to FaceTime constantly with his director Antoine Fuqua, was a profound lesson on how important it is to listen. While it's rule number one of being an actor, listening is really much harder than I will admit, Gyllenhaal says with a chuckle. I had a lot of practice on this movie and I hope to do more of it in my performances. It will probably help them. In his tense new thriller, in theaters now and streaming on Netflix October 1st, Gyllenhaal stars as LAPD Detective Joe Baylor, demoted to 911 dispatch duty and facing a courtroom visit the next day where his career is on the line. A call comes in where the woman on the other end is in danger, and the rest of the night is a mother load of emotional stress, as Joe desperately tries to get her and her children help while also facing his own sins. All the best movies we saw at Toronto Film Festival, including The Eyes of Tammy Faye. A lot of actors will talk about how they took their role home with them, Gyllenhaal says. For me, the ability to express those feelings is a safe space. And then when I go home, sure, sometimes they linger. I'm not going to say I didn't have a few glasses of wine at the end of every night. The best part of doing this job for as long as I've been able to it is that it has helped me through very hard times in my life. The Guilty was filmed over 11 days last October with various COVID-19 protocols and technical snafus, many Zoom chats with actors, including Peter Sarsgaard, Riley Keough and Ethan Hawke, and Fuqua having to be quarantined in a van away from the set after a close contact tested positive. He ultimately tested negative, which is why Fuqua was glad to be working with a friend and great collaborator. He is smart, he's brave, and has going to bring his A game, the director says of Gyllenhaal. We trust each other and I know he's always thinking about what's best for the film. Gyllenhaal, who recently shot director Michael Bay's action thriller Ambulance, in theaters February 18, alongside Yahya Abdul-Mateen II as two bank robbers who hijack an emergency vehicle, talks with USA Today about The Guilty and his thoughts on vaccine mandates. Jessica Chastain went incognito at a church for Tammy Faye. Gyllenhaal, you're working with other actors on the other end of the line, all of whom are pretty extraordinary. We assembled an unbelievable cast partially because everyone's at home and they weren't working at the time. So when a call came in, they sounded and felt real. The performances were true. All I really had to do was listen and open my heart up to the situation and try and move through it. I was constantly surprised and thrown, in the best way. Gyllenhaal, I love being on stage because I love when things happen. Other people may call them mistakes and I always call them inspiration, and so this movie was full of that. So many things happening technically that were an issue, and they were just continual inspiration. I just turned them on their head, where normally you might get frustrated, they became little presents. Gyllenhaal, I had just come off of doing a one-man show, Seawall/A Life, on Broadway for a year. So it felt weirdly natural to me to be sitting there alone performing, which is an odd thing to say. We're all alone, all of us, for a good period of time or just with our family or children. I want to be around other people now, laughs. I'd like to act with other actors in person and I'd like to be around more people. I think I've exhausted the alone time as an actor. Gyllenhaal: yes, I am. We are in a world community, whether we like it or not, and to do your part, I feel like getting the vaccine is that. Even if you don't feel that way, children under 12 can't be vaccinated and there are clearly serious effects from a virus on them now. I want to do everything I can, even if it's not 100% effective, to protect those children in whatever way I can. My dad often talked about how when I was a kid, he would throw himself in front of a car for me. I feel that way about the children I love in my life. Gyllenhaal: a lot of the movie I'm in an ambulance, so Terry's not a lot of space, laughs. There are a lot of scenes where I'm just being thrown around an ambulance and I've got to say, that gave me even more respect for first responders because there are so many sharp edges in an ambulance nobody thinks about when it's driving as fast it is. I'd heard all these amazing stories about Michael Bay and what it's like working with him. As wild, man, but I adore him. Driving around the streets of LA at like 100 miles per hour, shooting guns at helicopters. There are many stories out of that movie that are really fun and crazy. Gyllenhaal: well, I don't want to give too much away but Yahya does most of the driving, I do most of the shooting. But I drove, too. And Yahya's stunt double did a majority of the driving so I was happy about that, laughs. Let's leave the acting to the actors and the driving to the drivers. Amy Schumer is a revelation in first major dramatic role in The Humans.